Welcome to the Tea Time Podcast, where it's all about taking a few healthy minutes each day just for you, with your host, Sharissa Bradley.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode for the Tea Time Podcast. My name is Sharissa Bradley, and I am so excited that you are here. We are continuing the Journey Back to Health series, and we are on Chapter 5. So if you're just joining us, there is still so much time to catch up and get to where we are now, because if you're really joining me on this journey, you will know that I am doing this right alongside of you, and where I'm at in my 5th and 6th week now is still pretty much where I was at when I started, if not a little bit of a backslide. And I'll explain a little bit in this episode today, but I wanted to share that if you're just getting started, you're in the exact right, perfect place. So thank you for being here. On this episode, I am talking all about Chapter 5, which is Find Your Why. I sometimes regret that I put this chapter so far in the book because it really truly is the foundation behind healing. I was recently interviewed on a podcast and she asked, okay, Sharissa, then how do we make these changes? And how do we start these habits? And how do we form new habits and start doing things that are better for our health or making us better or making us healthier? And my answer was, first of all, to have grace with yourself because it's so challenging to build new habits. But my second and my most important piece of advice, and maybe the most important thing in this book, is that in order to change, you have to have a very, very strong reason why. For me, growing up, I was raised by a chronically ill mother, and she did not have the energy, capacity, or bandwidth in any kind to raise her family or be a mother once I turned about 11 years old. From that point on, I've been pretty independent, taking care of myself and taking care of my children. But when I myself got sick and I had 2 small kids at the time, I had to really dig so deep just to figure out how I was going to be able to find the energy to heal myself. I was coming from a place of brain fog, adrenal fatigue, 4 autoimmune disorders, and just tons of pain and no energy. But I knew why I wanted to heal. I did not want to be a sick mom. I did not want to tell my kids, I don't have enough energy to play. I can't get out of bed. I can't take care of you. I can't meet your needs. And I never ever wanted my kids to feel like, hey, even though I brought you here, you are now a burden to me and you're now taking too much of my time or my energy because I'm sick now. That was my why. It was so strongly rooted in me because my mom was sick when I was 11. So fast forward a couple of decades, and now I am facing those same questions and those same challenges. And I had to find a reason to get healthy because it's very hard to make literally every single change in your routine, habits, life, diet, food. Every single thing had to change for me. And that took more than willpower. It took more than energy. It took more than the desire. I had to have something very strongly rooted in me that was telling me every time I made these choices, is that going to get me to this person that I want to be, this healthy, this strong, this capable mother? Or was that taking away from what I was trying to do? Those thoughts and that argument is how I was able to do extreme elimination diets where for 2 years I had no coffee, no caffeine, no sugar, no dairy, no chocolate, literally for 2 years to work to heal my digestive system. There wasn't going to be any amount of willpower or notebooks or habits or journals that were going to help me make this change. I had to have something so big inside of me saying, this is why I'm changing. So the reason I regret adding this chapter so late in the book is that it almost becomes the only way that we can make real big positive changes for ourselves. You have to establish what it is that you're doing this for and why. So this chapter is all about finding your why. It's very short and it really is much more action oriented than educational, because what is most important, rather than hearing from me and my ideas, is digging in deep to why you want to be healthy, why you want to be strong, why you want to have longevity, why you want your body to be able to carry you well into your 90s. And I don't mean just like being alive. I mean like being able to walk, being able to get up, stand up, sit down, do all of these things by yourself, be self-sufficient into your later years. We have to have some reason why we want to live on and be healthy and be strong. And for me, it was not just my children. Honestly, my children were like such a massive part of it for me, but also I had to build these reasons why I wanted to be here, why I wanted to be healthy, and why I wanted to be strong. So in this chapter in the book, like I said, it's mostly action steps. You're going to read a tiny little bit about why finding your why is important, but then you're going to dig deep into doing these journal exercises that help you to find your why. If you don't already know specifically, like, I'm getting healthy and I want to be strong and I want to be capable and I want to feel all the energy because of X, Y, and Z, then do some of these exercises to help get you to the root of that. Some of the things are helping you to kind of write out what you would do if you were the most healthy, ideal version of yourself. So when I was the most sick that I could possibly be, couldn't get out of bed for more than an hour at a time, no food was working for me. There were so many challenges I was facing, including pain, including fatigue and loss of memory. And I was trying my best to navigate the minefields of trying to do elimination diets and get back into it. What I needed to do for myself, and what I will recommend at this point, is to create a list of things that you would do if you were your most healthy. For me, I felt like what chronic illness and autoimmune disease had stolen from me was my physical life. I really enjoyed hiking, riding my bike, going for long walks. I used to go indoor rock climbing with a partner that was a good friend of mine, and we would meet there and we would climb rock walls together for a few hours, just kind of get a little break from our families. And then that would like recharge us back up. This was something that I lost when I was dealing with autoimmune disease, because the physical flare up in the body, what I was feeling when I was feeling my worst, was to the point where I couldn't really walk well. The inflammation would take place mostly in my hips, and it would feel like it was so swollen that I was like the Tin Man and I needed to like oil my joints and they couldn't move. I would try baths and warm showers and all these, like, try to detox, try to get the inflammation out. But when my body was in a really bad flare, it felt like it affected my joints the most, specifically in my hips. So things like walking up and down the stairs, or really truly anything, just even walking in a straight line, lifting my legs up, was excruciatingly painful in my hip joints, specifically in my lower back, when the autoimmune disease would like really be at its heightened flared state. I didn't really know when that was going to come on. I didn't really have any kind of indication. I would just wake up in just horrendous pain and it would last until it was over and nothing really helped. And so I couldn't do things like ride a bike, rock climb, go for a hike. And I was a very active person before this. So I wanted very badly to get these things back. And I knew that it was going to take me a few years to really heal all of this damage. So I gave myself that timeline of 2 years to heal. But as I was healing, I set these goals for myself. Like, I want to hike again. I want to ride my bike. I want to go rock climbing. And that helped me so much on my really hard days to remember why I was doing this, why I was pushing myself to go through detox so that I could get to actual healing and not just masking the symptoms, because I really didn't want to be someone who lived with flare-ups at any point for any reason without really ever understanding why it was happening. So I made myself this list, and I encourage you, and it is in the book as well, to write these categories of, as I get my energy back, as I get my health back, these are the things that I want to be able to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be active. Maybe one of your issues that you're struggling with that was common for me was brain fog. Brain fog made it really challenging for me to read And I'm a reader, I'm a publisher, I'm an author. Like, I love to read. That was something that was stolen from me because I couldn't remember what was on the page I had just read or even the sentence above. And sometimes the pain in my body was so prevalent that sitting and reading wasn't going to be something that I could concentrate or focus on, even listening to books, things like that. It really stole a lot from me. So when I was healing and writing this list out for myself, I would add things like read a book, go for walks, cook a meal for myself, being able to stand in the kitchen. Sometimes the exhaustion was so bad that washing my hair became a really big challenge, and I ended up cutting off most of my hair because it was too hard to stand in the shower for a long period of time and like actually wash my hair, like holding my arms up above my head. It was too challenging. So things like small things I put on that list, being able to stand in the shower and wash my hair, being able to have long hair again, being able to cook a meal for myself, being able to be active again, these things set me up to, on my very bad days, remember what I was doing this for. So that's one of the things in this chapter, is to build that list out for yourself. And then I also have this little challenge in the chapter about building out your support team, because if you could tell other people some of these goals for yourself, for me, like I wanted to go rock climbing again. I shared that with people. Like, when I feel healthy, I want to go rock climbing again. And so then I had this team of people who were supporting me, my friends, my family, chiropractor, acupuncturist, people that had my best interests at heart and were willing to look at my body as a whole. I think that's so important, because I definitely had doctors who wanted to kind of look at me under a microscope, ones that would specifically focus on hormones or specifically focus on gut or inflammation or pain. But I really wanted to build out a team that was going to look at the full picture, as well as people who were just going to be there to support and cheerlead me on my journey. So there is a little bit in here about building out your support team as well as building your why, because if we can have both, like telling people that love us why we want to get healthy, they can support us on our goals and for our dreams. That's not going to be everybody. That may not even be like necessarily the people who are closest to your family. You might have to like pay somebody to be this person, like a coach, somebody that can really support you. Sometimes it takes people who are closest to you a little bit of time watching you do the thing that you said you were going to do before they get on board. I know that that's a little disheartening at times, but when we recognize that, we can bring support members onto our team that are maybe like a little outside of our circle that can actually help guide us and cheerlead us on our goals. So maybe somebody who can help fill you with love. Maybe, again, this is like a paid position. Maybe somebody who can help you cope with your losses. There's going to be challenges along the way on any healing journey where we have to cut things out that don't serve us, whether that's like things that take our time or things that take our physical energy. This is also somebody who's going to celebrate your wins with you. There's definitely people in our lives that don't necessarily want to see us succeed. I wish that wasn't true, but it is. And if you can find somebody who does celebrate with you, if you do something and they want to cheer you on and they make you feel better, this is maybe somebody who can add to that team. And then also, when you're having a hard time, if you have somebody that you can lean on when you're having a hard time, that is definitely something to add to this list, because truly, it's not always the people who are closest to us. Sometimes we need to kind of look outside and see like who has the capacity to hold what I'm going through. And that might be a therapist, that might be again, a paid position of somebody who's really got your best interest at heart and who's wanting to support you and help you. The action steps for this chapter are really just reaching out to somebody once you've set up your why and once you know what it is that you're trying to do. You've set these goals for yourself. You know you want to get healthier. You know you want to feel better. You know you want to be stronger. Who can help support you on that? And then reach out to that person. That's the only action step in this chapter, is just to actually make contact and say, hey, I'm doing this. I need this support. I might reach out to you when I'm not feeling my best, or I might reach out to you when I'm feeling my absolute best. And either way, I'm going to need that cheerleading and that support. And building that team can really, really help you on your journey when you're feeling like, I just can't do this anymore. Or to help you celebrate really, really big wins for yourself too, because both are really useful. For myself, I mentioned at the beginning of this episode that it almost feels like I've gone backwards since last week. And I mentioned this in last week's episode. I actually wasn't able to hold down my green drink on Sunday, about a week ago, a little over a week ago. And what's happened since that day, I'm not sure if it's hormone related or what, but now the nausea first thing in the morning has been extremely heightened. So now I feel like I'm almost like back all the way to last year in June when this first hit. And my fear, my mind is like spiraling in fear, like it's always going to be like this. You're never going to get past it. But the truth is, I'm just on this journey with all of you, and it can't be easy for me. It can't just be like, oh, done, easy peasy, because I'm trying to learn a foundational skill of really adjusting my body to being in a safe place and understanding that it can eat. It is deserving of nutrients. It is deserving of food, love, attention first thing in the morning, and so are all of you. So I'm still struggling. I'm still on this challenge. I am working through what my why is because I don't want to give up. It could be so easy to just be like, you know what? I'm always going to be nauseous every single morning. I'm never going to be able to get this meals thing down. I'm really doing my absolute best to change that narrative for myself. And I recognize it's multiple habits. And that was really humbling because I thought it was going to be this like one habit to change. And it turns out it's a lot of mental chatter. It's a lot of stories. It's a lot of not deserving, not enough, not being worthy. So I'm really having to undo these massive ruts in my brain that are telling me that I just am never going to get better in this way. So I just want to thank you guys again for being along for the journey. I'm still right here with you, doing my very best every single day and still facing challenges, but I'm still meeting myself with grace. And I'm really working on that positive self-talk. Even when I'm feeling awful and icky, I'm still trying to really like just be gentle with myself and gentle with my body. So I hope that encourages you to continue on your journey and to continue to be gentle with yourself. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all for another episode next week. Bye.
Thank you for spending your tea time with us. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.